I think as the 19-year-old kid that I am, it has been it is easier now than ever has been to or it will be under Trump to purchase a home and to be able to provide for my home and provide for my family. Under the circumstances, he's trying to focus on Americans and American families.
Okay. How will it be cheaper? What due to what Trump policy?
Shoot. So, what was? Give me a second. Let me think. I don't know.
Okay. If you don't know, then why do you credit him with like creating better conditions for home prices? Because clearly, he's done nothing to do that. He didn't even talk about a housing affordability policy, and his policy, quite frankly, leads to home prices going up. Not only because of the fact that interest rates aren't being able to be cut as much because of the fact that there's upward pressure on prices in terms of inflation, but also due to the inflation causing prices to go up when you impose tariffs, particularly on lumber coming in from Canada. That's going to cause the price of lumber in the United States to go up because there's a reduction in the supply available to consumers in terms of lumber.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that, and I understand that, like we said before, like you can't not transport goods from other countries because other countries certain just have other things that we do not have, and that today that we need, like our lumber, and I understand that. But I feel there is nothing wrong with trying to get Americans to make American things in America and produce things that we use every day on a day-to-day basis, whether it's homes, whether it's furniture, whether it's our food in America, making it close proximity with our communities, being able to provide with our own goods that we have here in America. Like I mentioned earlier, our oil. Why were we during the Trump or during the Biden administration? There was constantly we were constantly not we weren't drilling our own oil. We weren't pumping our own oil. We were relying on other countries' oil instead of like Canada. We were pumping and drilling and transporting their oil to over here instead of pumping and drilling our own. Why were we
Um,
doing that? Why were we
so
doing that?
so we had the highest level of domestic oil production, domestic meaning within the country, oil production under the Biden administration than any country in the history of the world, including the previous Trump administration. So at the time we were
What about his
producing in the
son? What
United
about his,
States, we were also doing producing renewable energies, which Donald Trump has undermined in terms of the funding for producing renewable energies. So he's actually made us less energy independent because of that. And then also the idea of transporting Canadian oil. Didn't like Trump supporters like complain about the fact that Biden followed through with a Supreme Court order to not produce the Keystone XL portion of the pipeline, which would have been transporting Canadian oil?
and let's not forget that once again, Trump's entire thing is providing Americans with American products like our oil.
Yeah, but
Why
like,
wouldn't we?
so then why was he
Why would
pro Keystone XL portion of the pipeline when that was Canadian oil?
come again? Explain that more.
Yeah, like Trump supporters were so mad at us specifically for being okay with Biden following through with a Supreme Court order to not build the Keystone XL portion of the pipeline when that would have delivered Canadian oil to the United States.
Because I think that we as Republicans were frustrated with that is because we should not be we have allies. We have our allies, and it's good to have allies,
Mm-hmm.
but we should not rely on a pipeline that is coming from Canada to provide us with oil when we have our own oil. That goes into my thing. What I was saying, we should not rely on any other country but ourselves. We do not need to rely on any other country because we are the greatest country. We are the greatest nation in the world. We invented the freedom that every other country wants to have today. And this
We
is
have less freedom than countries around the world. If we look at the Human Freedom Index, we have less freedom than a bunch of different European countries. If you want to look at economic freedom, we have less freedom than a bunch of different countries. If you think that we're a bastion of freedom right now, well, we have the Trump administration cracking down on Jimmy Kimmel for making a joke about how Trump addressed Charlie Kirk's, then you need to get a grip on reality. I'm serious. Like they literally got him kicked off of ABC in his own show because they didn't like him. That is not free speech. That is not freedom. It's not freedom when we're undermining Roe versus Wade and restricting women's access to abortion in different states
hold
based
on.
upon where they preside. It's not freedom to live in a country where we have a guy that is actively undermining people's due process rights ingrained in the context of the Constitution, calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
Did you just bring up freedom of speech?
Yes.
Do we not both just witness a man getting murdered over another Democrat?
Wait, hold up. I'm sorry. That's not a lawmaker. And don't make that about this. That's not against freedom of speech from a governmental perspective. That's not the government. Wait, by the way, let me clarify what freedom of speech is. Freedom of speech is the government protecting your right to speak, right? That's okay, so the government infringing upon your right to speak would be anti-freedom of speech. Like Donald Trump calling for people to be put in prison for burning an American flag. If I burn an American flag, you're saying I should go to prison for a year?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, you agree with that? You agree that I should be put in prison?
If you are burning the American flag, why are you here?
I live here.
If you're gonna disrespect and
wait, I'm sorry. The Supreme Court indicated that it's protected by the First Amendment because it's freedom of expression.
I understand.
It's symbolic speech. Should I have the freedom to flip off Donald Trump?
That's cool. Yeah, just like we can flip off
but then wouldn't you make the same argument? Why do you live here if you want to flip off the president of the United States?
No, that's a man. That's one man.
So
I don't agree with
that's
every
the president,
little thing
right?
Trump, correct. But unless you're harming the president, you're not doing anything wrong.
Okay. Well, then, unless you're harming someone, you're not doing anything wrong by burning a flag that you own.
Okay. Listen to me. You want to talk about freedom of speech and freedom of just like action and being able to do whatever you want. If I want to burn that flag, I can burn that flag.
Exactly. So you agree that someone shouldn't be put in prison for a year because of that? That's anti-freedom of speech.
If you want to burn a flag that represents, like you're saying, symbolic, it's if we're being so serious, it's a piece of fabric. But the symbolic point of it, if you're going to burn an American flag in the country that has given all these freedoms and has the lives that American flag represents, and the people that fought under that flag and lost their lives, for people just to come back and burn it?
Well, I'm sorry. So a combat veteran who burns the flag, should he have been arrested?
If you are going to burn the American flag in a public space, in the middle of a street,
wait, no,
I believe
clarify.
you should be arrested on sight.
By the way, where they did it was completely legal to do. But if they did it on their own property, then they're a combat vet. They do it on their own property and they post it to social media. Should they be put in prison for a year?
No, that's their property. That's
okay.
That's,
wait, but you said that would be totally like wrong for them to do because they're desecrating the country that they exist in. Why are they even here, right? Do you realize how that's a ridiculous argument for you to say? That clearly when someone is burning the flag, they're showing distaste specifically with the current context of the administration or something about the country, which I think they would rightfully have the ability to do. And I think within the context of this country, if we do not have the ability to burn our flag, to show distaste for our government, then that is a violation of one of our fundamental rights. If you say that the American flag stands for freedom, well then the freedom to burn it is one of the freedoms that it stands for. So don't desecrate the freedoms that it stands for by saying that someone should not have the freedom to burn it in America, because that is anti one of the foundational elements of this country in terms of what the freedoms that we believe in, right? The Constitution, and Donald Trump desecrating that, undermining it, and then calling for the termination of all rules, regulations, and the articles in the Constitution should be even worse to you than someone burning the American flag.
I don't know if you saw the video of the veteran who was being criticized and had many people saying that he a girl, and he can't. I don't know the whole backstory of the video, but he ended up burning his uniform, and on that uniform it had many flags on it. You know the American military uniform. We have the flag on the uniform. and he got so much black backlash from that. But the topic you were saying about how say a veteran burns the flag, does it make it right? No.
No, you could
But
say that it's, you could say that it's wrong, but it's a freedom to do. It's a freedom.
correct. But if
Okay,
you're
so
going to
then
do it
like
in a, I agree with I don't agree with if you're going to be on your home and you are going to burn Bibles, you're going to burn flags, you're going to burn all this stuff on your property. I can't stop you. We can't say anything about it. Even if you're going to take a video of it and post it, I think it should be taken down immediately and be terminated. But that person shouldn't get touched. But if you're going to go into a public space in the middle of a street in front of hundreds of people and burn the American flag for the whole world to see, that should be a form of not an active form of that should be a hate crime towards America.
oh come on. That's
No,
so
let's be
ridiculous.
so serious.
Oh god, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me clarify. If I were to go on stream and I were to go in my backyard and I were
Hmm.
to burn an American flag, should
Right.
that be legal for me to do?
I think that your stream should be taken down, but it shouldn't. It's not illegal for you to do
Freedom
that.
of speech. So you could say you think my stream should be taken down, sure, whatever. But
Right,
the
but
the idea that
if I have a
is
streaming
that the
platform,
government
I
should
can
not
kick you
put me in
off.
prison for a year for doing that, right?
No.
Okay, so obviously, so Donald Trump saying that people should be put in prison for a year for burning the American flag, that is anti-freedom. So when you're saying that like America is this country that is proponing all of these different freedoms, it doesn't seem like that when you support someone like Donald Trump.
But you also have to understand that this country was formed on symbols and religion and
No, there's I mean
things.
it's in the Constitution, separation of church and state.
No, I understand that, but we are still formed on symbols, and the American flag is the greatest symbol of American pride and American freedom, American privilege, because that's what we have here. We have American privilege, and we have no country has the type of privilege that we do in America. And if you're going to disrespect that flag,
Wait, privilege in what way?
no country has the kind of freedoms that we do. But what I say because you're going to ask me
Like what
what freedoms.
freedoms? What freedoms?
Right,
Yeah.
I called it. Um, the freedoms that we have of having a family, not being told what to do by the government, not having with primarily we're not controlled by the government. It's formed by the people for the people.
I'm asking in what way are we not controlled that other countries are controlled in that makes us a bastion of freedom around the world when again I've indicated to you that the human freedom index we rank less freedom than like so many different European countries. I can show you the human freedom index if you'd like right now.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, I love to see it. But in other countries, you can only have so many kids, you can only do so many things before the government steps in. In America, we have set laws and things that we are able to do that if the government does that, that is treason and that is breaking the Constitution. We have these rules set in place for the people by the people. The Americans, we control who's in office, how long they get to stay in office.
Wait, repeat what you just said. Sorry, I apologize. I was pulling up this graph of the human freedom index.
Sure. I said we have the Constitution for the
That
people
Trump
by
wants
the
to terminate.
people.
Trump wants to terminate that constitution. Trump is violating multiple of the freedoms
He-
endowed by that constitution.
that is false.
Really? Freedom of speech,
Yes, 100%.
freedom of speech,
Do
due
not bring up freedom
process
of
rights,
speech. You want to talk about
due
the
process
Jimmy
rights.
Kimmel show and how he got taken down for
Do
talking
you
about
see
Charlie
this?
Kirk?
And no, it was particularly about Donald Trump's response to it. You see where the United States is located? Not only is it not the best in terms of democracy score, especially because of Donald Trump, but not even close in terms of human freedom. Look at all of these other countries that have better human freedom than we do.
Those
According to
those
the Cato
countries,
Institute.
but correct. But these so-called countries that have better human freedoms than we do, and they're able to do more things than we are, they also can get outside of their street and nothing will happen to them.
They
That
have
the
lower
person that
rates
killed them.
of crime. That's just not true. And also, I don't know where you get this idea that they have higher rates of. What are you talking about, dude? You don't. What country has a higher rate of?
What were some of the countries above us?
Yeah, for example, Australia, the Netherlands, Finland, Luxembourg, Sweden, Ireland, Norway, Switzerland. Would you like to give me any of those countries that you think specifically has a higher rate of crime or than the United States?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But you also have countries where I can't name the countries, but you have like for instance Afghanistan. My dad fought in Afghanistan. The people, you can go and you can do whatever you want.
Wait, I'm sorry.
But you can also
Are you saying because the United States has more freedom than Afghanistan, that somehow that's gonna mean that the United States is some bastion of freedom that has freedom no like any other country in the world?
no, but you're telling me if you are so caught up in not thinking that America has the best freedom, why don't you move somewhere else? Do you not believe that America has
I was
is the
born
best
in
place to live?
America. I want to make America a better country. I understand that
But
other countries will have better conditions, but I'm saying that I want to make America a better place as I grew up here.
but
My
what I'm trying to
family
say is
lives here. I'm sorry, my family lives here. I really care
but
about being around my family. That's probably the
but do
most
you
important thing to me.
but do you not agree that America is the greatest country to ever be?
No, I do not agree. I don't know what you I don't know why you're saying that. Especially when our
Because it
country
is.
continues to not uphold that by voting in a
Because
guy
it
that
is
incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol,
a violent
who
insurrection of
called
capital.
for the
Like what?
termination of all rules. Oh, what do you mean what? He said to fight like hell to take back the country from those that stole it from them, and then he pardoned those that police officers at the Capitol on January 6th, right? He pardoned the specific individuals that were convicted of it, some caught on video doing it, and admitted to it themselves, some of them, right? He pardoned them.
What do you mean he pardoned them? He pardoned innocent people.
No, he pardoned people who were police officers and were convicted of it. I'm serious. That's why
No,
I'm
he
saying
didn't.
he incited. Yes, he did.
And
DJ,
you want to say
I'll give you an
we
example.
can't we can't.
DJ Rodriguez, he drove a into the neck of a police officer. He's admitted to it. He's been convicted of it. And Donald Trump pardoned him.
Okay, but you also want to say that uh, Trump can't say that we should fight like hell to take the country back from people that take it from that take it took it from us.
Well, I'm saying that with also there being the pardoning of the violent rioters tells me that not only did he incentivize people to go to the Capitol on the day, but he also condoned the violence that day. So yes,
What?
he did.
No.
Yeah, because he pardoned the violent rioters. He said peaceful, like peacefully protest, but that was contradicted by him pardoning the violent rioters. If he actually didn't want there to be violence, he would have pardoned all of the people who did
Yeah,
non-violent things on that day.
Democrats dressing up like Trump supporters really makes them Trump supporters.
What? They weren't Democrats. What are you talking about? These people were
Okay.
convicted.
Okay.
Where'd you get that they were Democrats?
The
Democrats
people
did
that
not.
rushed the Capitol.
Democrats were not the ones that rushed the Capitol on January 6th. That was Trump supporters.
Because they're dressed, they have a Trump hat on that makes them a Trump
That was
supporter.
MAGA. Well, no, they themselves said they were Trump supporters. You think the
Oh
QAnon
wow.
shaman was? You think that guy was a Democrat?
No, I believe that Democrats are snakes, and have people dressed up as Trump supporters, and they want to rush the Capitol to make it
So
look
by the way,
bad.
you can't take accountability for January 6th so bad. You just had to say it was Democrats dressed up as Republicans. Are you
I'm
serious?
not the only one. I'm not the only
What
one.
evidence do you have that they were Democrats?
I have no evidence, but we don't do that.
Hey, it's been a minute since I've done this, but I think this is pretty fitting. Okay, I think this is pretty fitting. I think that was pretty fitting. Come on, come on. No evidence? You got nothing, and yet you say they're Democrats? All the evidence indicates that they were Trump supporters and they were MAGA.
Okay,
I'm serious. Like, why do you think that?
no comment. No comment.
No, come on, seriously. You can't say no comment in front of over 10,000 people, dude.
Well, because it's not the fact of, oh yeah, they said, hey, yeah, we're Trump supporters. Yeah, we support Trump. Oh, okay, that's a lot. It's actions. Like there was several who were they went back to their social medias and they're like their political views in their social media posts, and you could see they were clearly Democrats like a year earlier or a couple months earlier.
Who? Name one of the people that was a Democrat that went there
I
on
don't know their
January 6th.
names.
Name a
I
single
don't know the
person.
names. I don't know the names.
Can you name one media source that reported a single Democrat being there
Uh,
that entered the Capitol on January 6th? A single Democrat.
Once again, it's people that are claiming to be Trump supporters but are not truly Trump supporters.
So could you give me even Fox News reporting on one Democrat that was there?
I, I, I wasn't really concerned of it then. I didn't really look into it like
you
that.
got Newsmax, maybe?
I'm sure.
I'm sure. So then go ahead. I'll give you time to find it if you'd like.
I don't. I really don't want to do that.
Well, because I know that you won't be able to find it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm serious.
Once
Like,
again,
I genuinely don't think you'll be able to find that. I don't know why you believe
Okay,
this.
but once again, it's a thing that people are saying. Hey, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter, but they. Nah, okay.
So should I believe you're a Trump supporter?
I mean, you can believe what you want to believe. You can believe off my debate I'm having with you right now. Would you say I'm not a Trump supporter?
No, I would say you are a Trump supporter, but based upon your reasoning, I'd have good reason to say that you aren't.
Oh, okay.
You're just saying that you are.
Okay.
Do you realize how ridiculous this is? Most of the people there were Trump supporters. Can you at least acknowledge that?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Okay. The people that were committing violence against the police officers were Trump supporters.
Mm.
They literally were. If they weren't Trump supporters, why did Donald Trump pardon Democrats that police officers on January 6th? Why
Because
did Donald
Democrats are
Trump
people
pardon
too.
Democrats that did that? Please tell me.
Because Democrats are people too. I don't hate you because you're.
But you think that again, you say that you don't hate us because we're Democrat, but then you just said Democrats said that they were Trump supporters to police officers to then blame it on Republicans, but then you wanted to pardon the people who blamed it on Republicans? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
They're clearly not Democrats, right? Donald Trump pardoned violent rioters. That tells me he incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol because he condoned the violence that happened on that day. Right?
Okay, but you also have to think. Put it into context. This man would never say, "Hey, let's go riot and let's go break into the Capitol. Let's go harass and
Then why did he pardon
violate
the
police
then why did
officers."
he might not have said that, but why didn't he pardon
Listen.
why did he pardon the violent rioters then?
Listen for a second. Whenever he said we're gonna fight like hell, he does not mean physical fist fight. He did not ever insist.
Then why
on
did he
physical
pardon the
fist
violent
fight.
rioters?
Oh my goodness.
I'm serious. Why did he pardon them? You cannot tell me that he does not condone it. If someone pardons someone who committed a violent crime, like if a Democrat did this, you guys would be claiming from the rooftops, from the skyscrapers, that Democrats condone violence. Okay, we have to acknowledge it here when Trump does it. We have to acknowledge that. We can't just ignore reality because it's politically convenient.
How many times have they? You want to talk about violence? How many times Trump got? He almost got again. Tell me about violence, and it's always been trans and Democrats.
No, that's not trans people. I don't know what you're talking about.
It is.
The people in those contexts were not trans. A lot of the ones that you're referencing, the people who specifically went after Trump, registered Republican. They're white dudes. They're all like straight white dudes, right? Or like,
But they're Democrats.
like most of the political violence in the United States is done by people
You
on
are
the
a
right.
white dude, but you're still a Democrat. What?
Yes.
What does the skin color have to do with
Hey,
anything?
well, I'm just acknowledging the reality because you brought up people who are trans. I'm saying that most people specifically who are committing domestic in the United States are right-wing domestic, happen to be most predominantly
That's
white
bullshit.
straight men that
the,
are cis.
What about the several trans people going into schools and churches and killing
how
kids?
how many people specifically who are trans have done that?
There's been like 3 counts in the past 5 years.
Three out of like hundreds to thousands of different cases. So if
Okay,
you're
but you
talking
have to
about
understand these mass
that's
shootings.
wait, by the way, that's underrepresenting the current population of trans people that exist. So trans people are disproportionately less likely to commit these different types of actions, whereas white men specifically are
But they do.
disproportionately more likely to do so. You know who's
Likely or
doing it?
not, but they
It's
but the trans
literally
people do.
the reality is it's conservative white men that are straight, right? That are cis, that are not trans, that are committing these actions of violence. That does not make a prescription that conservative men as a whole or in general, right, need to be held accountable for this something, but it is something that we need to address. Stop blaming it on trans people when they have nothing to do with it. They have nothing to do with this problem. Stop blaming trans people. What the hell is wrong with you? This seriously has nothing to do with trans people. It is actually laughably embarrassing that you have to try and make it about trans people to get away from the fact and to try to deflect away from the fact that white, conservative, cis, straight men in America are the ones committing domestic violence in this country. Disproportionately.
When is the last time that you have seen and that you can name on the top of your head the last time that a white Republican man has created the mass or a public shooting like Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump, like political views?
Oh, Donald Trump's first political assassination attempt.
What?
Yes, that was a white conservative dude. Remember?
No,
He's a
it
registered
wasn't.
Republican. Yes, it was. He was a registered Republican. Do you not remember? Do you not remember?
Yeah, a registered Republican is going to come and the Republican president.
Yes,
You know
literally.
how silly that sounds.
I'm not denying reality. I'm being real. That's what happened.
That's
I understand it's hard for you to accept, but please stop making this
hard
an
for me to
issue.
accept. I can accept the fact that the
It
president
is hard
was
for
almost
it
killed.
clearly is hard for you to accept. You're using this all to deflect away from the reality.
Deflect of what?
You were just saying that trans people were causing mass disproportionately. It's white straight conservative men. We can see domestic based on FBI statistics is mostly done by the far right. Okay, that is the reality.